Imagine discovering that the underworld's most secure app was a trap. That every message, every photo of cocaine shipments, every murder plot was being read in real time by federal agents on the other side of the world. That the man who recommended this technology to hundreds of kingpins had no idea he just handed them over on a silver platter. This isn't science fiction. This is Operation Ironside, and it destroyed Australia's criminal underworld in a single morning. June 8, 2021, 5 in the morning. 4,000 Australian police officers hit doors simultaneously across Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Brisbane, and Perth. Tactical teams in black gear with battering rams, helicopters circling residential neighborhoods, forensic agents waiting with evidence cases. Within 16 hours, 224 people fall. Among them, figures from the Comancheros, Italian Mafia, Albanian clans, and Asian triads. They seized 6 tons of drugs, $55 million in cash, and 140 military-grade weapons. This isn't an ordinary operation. It's the coordinated dismantling of 300 criminal organizations across 16 countries. The biggest law enforcement strike in Southern Hemisphere history. Headlines around the world explode that morning. CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, all broadcasting the same images. Tattooed men handcuffed face down, mountains of bills counted by automatic machines, cocaine blocks stacked like construction bricks. The Australian Prime Minister calls an emergency press conference. The FBI director appears on screen from Washington. Europol coordinates simultaneous statements in The Hague. The magnitude of what happened takes hours to comprehend. This isn't about a single cartel. It's not one network dismantled, it's hundreds. But there's something puzzling about all this. Authorities didn't need infiltrators. There were no years of physical surveillance. They didn't bribe anyone. They simply read the messages criminals were sending while believing they were impossible to intercept. For 3 years, from October 2018 until that June morning, the Australian Federal Police and FBI watched everything in real time. Imports of tons of methamphetamine hidden in construction equipment. Money laundering through cryptocurrencies mixed across dozens of digital wallets. 21 murder plots with precise details of time, location, and method. One of those plans included gunning down a man with a machine gun as he left a restaurant in Adelaide. Another, a suburban cafe massacre designed to eliminate Comanchero rivals in one stroke. Conspirators didn't use codes, they wrote openly. Shipment arrives Tuesday at Melbourne Port, container number 73421. Payment is $1 million in Bitcoin, split across 3 wallets. I'm sending you now. Target leaves the gym at 7 p.m. We use the Glock with suppressor. We're gone on the stolen bike. They attach photos of shipments, cocaine bricks wrapped in industrial plastic with cartel logos. They shared exact GPS coordinates of delivery points. They sent selfies posing with military weapons. They displayed stacks of bills on marble tables. They documented their own conviction with the blind confidence of those who believe their secrets are protected by impenetrable technology. How is it possible that organizations moving $1.5 billion annually fell into such an obvious trap? What kind of technology fooled them? And more disturbing, who convinced them to use it? The answer has a name: Hakan Aayik, a 42-year-old Turkish-Australian fugitive living in Istanbul while running a drug trafficking empire from a luxury hotel. Aayik was a legend in the underworld. Born in Sydney to Turkish parents, he grew up in the working-class suburbs of Kogara. His father died young. Several family members ended up addicted or imprisoned. By 25, Aayik already operated karaoke bars and brothels in Sydney and Canberra. By 30, he was a lieutenant in the Comancheros under the command of Mick Howie, the club's leader, until he was shot dead, leaving a gym in February 2018. Aayik fled Australia in 2010 after being linked to massive heroin imports. He was arrested in Cyprus in December that year, but disappeared after posting bail. He resurfaced in Turkey, where he built a global network connecting Mexican cartels, Chinese triads, and Italian mafia. From Istanbul, he operated with impunity. He ran his King's Cross Hotel in the upscale financial district of Levant, a 13-room building with spa, Japanese restaurant, and business cards proclaiming, "Sleep your way to the top." On social media, before disappearing from public radar, he flaunted his life among yachts, Rolex watches, and trips to Dubai. They called him the Facebook gangster. He was untouchable. Or so he thought, because Hakan Aayik unknowingly had become the greatest unwitting informant in organized crime history, and it all began with a messaging app that he himself distributed among his partners. An app called Anom, a perfect trap designed by the FBI and Australian Federal Police that would redefine the rules of the game between organized crime and law enforcement. The question keeping criminals awake since that day isn't how they got caught. It's how many more are still being watched without knowing it. To understand Operation Ironside, you have to go back to March 2018, when the organized crime world suffered its first digital earthquake. That month, the FBI dismantled Phantom Secure, a Canadian company selling encrypted phones to criminal organizations. The operation was brutal and surgical. Vincent Ramos, the CEO, was arrested on March 7th at a restaurant in Bellingham, Washington. The FBI charged him with facilitating secure communications for high-level drug traffickers. The evidence was overwhelming. Phantom Secure had generated millions selling technology designed exclusively to evade the law. Ramos refused to create a backdoor in his system despite direct FBI requests. He chose to serve the maximum sentence, 9 years in federal prison. For some in the underworld, that made him a hero who protected his clients. But his sacrifice didn't save Phantom Secure. The company collapsed, and with it, the communications infrastructure of the world's most powerful criminal organizations. Phantom had been the backbone for the Sinaloa cartel, the Comancheros, European biker gangs, and Asian trafficking networks. Their devices were modified BlackBerries with custom operating systems. No traditional calls, no accessible email, no location tracking, only end-to-end encrypted messaging. Users paid $1,700 every 6 months. They offered remote wipe, duress passwords, and military-grade encryption. They were, in theory, impenetrable. More than 14,000 Phantom devices circulated in Australia alone when the network fell. Tens of thousands more in Europe, Latin America, Asia. The void was immense and immediate. Criminals panicked. Multi-million-dollar operations depended on that technology. Distributors in Rotterdam couldn't confirm deliveries with suppliers in Medellin. Money launderers in Hong Kong lost contact with clients in Sydney. Modern organized crime is a transnational corporation. Without secure communications, the business model collapses. But criminals don't give up easily. Sky Global, another Canadian company, absorbed part of the market. Encrochat, a European network, gained traction. But none had Phantom's universal trust. Drug traffickers are paranoid by nature. They need social proof. They need respected figures to use it first. In San Diego, the FBI had something more valuable than an arrested CEO. They had one of Phantom Secure's key distributors facing 6 years in federal prison. In court documents, he appears as Afgu. He'd invested years developing the next generation of encrypted devices. He knew the market intimately. He knew what criminals wanted. Most importantly, he had direct connections with distributors in Australia, Europe, and Latin America. Afgu had 2 options, prison or negotiate. He chose negotiation. But the FBI wanted something ambitious. They wanted to fill Phantom's void with their own platform, a platform that seemed legitimate, a platform criminals would adopt voluntarily, a platform with an invisible backdoor. The proposal was audacious. Afgu would hand over his encrypted device prototype called Anom and use his network to distribute it among the world's largest criminal organizations. In exchange, substantial sentence reduction plus $180,000 over 3 years. Afgu accepted. The most sophisticated deception operation in modern law enforcement history had begun. The genius wasn't just technology, it was psychology. Criminals trust people, not companies. A respected distributor recommending a superior alternative would be heard, and if high-level figures endorsed it, adoption would be exponential. Anom wasn't an ordinary messaging app that you could download from the App Store. The devices carrying it were Google Pixels purchased on the black market through criminal supply chains, then completely modified with a custom operating system called Arcane OS that had been specifically engineered for this covert operation. These phones had no conventional phone call capability whatsoever, no accessible email services, no conventional GPS tracking that could be exploited. They had exactly one function: encrypted messaging between authorized Anom users. The phone looked like a normal smartphone from the outside, sleek and modern, but inside it was a digital fortress designed for a single, specific purpose. To access the Anom application, users had to open the pre-installed calculator app and enter a specific numerical code provided only to verified criminal users. This was what security experts call security theater, an additional layer of exclusivity and perceived protection that made users feel they were protected by military-grade technology. Once inside the app, the interface was minimalist but genuinely sophisticated in appearance. It featured end-to-end encryption using what appeared to be military-grade algorithms. Messages routed through secure proxy servers, supposedly located in jurisdictions that didn't cooperate easily with US or Australian authorities. The app included program self-destruction. If the device wasn't used for a specific period, all data would automatically erase itself. There was also an instant remote wipe option. Enter a specific panic code at any moment, and all information would be deleted instantaneously, leaving nothing recoverable even with forensic tools. Users could send text messages, share high-resolution photographs of their criminal operations, exchange encrypted videos, and attach documents. Everything passed through what appeared to be secure servers distributed globally across multiple continents. The app promised that absolutely no one could intercept these communications using traditional law enforcement methods. And technically, that promise was accurate, as long as you didn't know that the system had a back door built into it from day one, before the first device ever reached a criminal user's hands. But there was a fatal detail that users would never discover until it was far too late to matter. Every single message sent through ANOM automatically generated an additional encrypted copy that was sent silently to a secret server called iBot. That server, controlled initially by the Australian Federal Police to comply with US Fourth Amendment restrictions on domestic surveillance, would decrypt the message using an integrated master key built into the system architecture. It extracted the complete text, all attached images, GPS coordinates if they were included, user metadata, and timestamps. Then it stored everything in forensic databases, re-encrypted it for security, and forwarded it to a second iBot server owned and operated by the FBI. All of this happened in real time as messages were transmitted. Users noticed absolutely no delay in message delivery. There were no warning signs, no suspicious indicators, no battery drain, nothing. The backdoor was completely invisible from any user perspective. To avoid violating the Fourth Amendment, which protects U.S. citizens against unreasonable searches and seizures without warrants, the FBI implemented sophisticated geo-blocking technology. Any messages originating from within United States territory weren't intercepted at all. Only international communications crossing borders were captured. However, this created a significant logistical problem. They needed a third country that would legally allow the transfer of intercepted data to the FBI without violating that country's own privacy laws. After months of secret negotiations behind closed doors, that country turned out to be Lithuania. In autumn 2019, Lithuanian authorities created a copy of the iBot server infrastructure and began receiving data downloads every 2 to 3 days. A Lithuanian court order then allowed the FBI to receive regular updates every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday until June 7, 2021, when the order was set to expire. But all this sophisticated technology would have been completely useless without mass adoption among criminal networks. That's where Hakan Aayik becomes crucial to the story. Aayik received one of the very first ANOM devices in mid-2019, though it's still unclear exactly which distributor in his network handed it to him. What is documented beyond any doubt is what he did after receiving it. He immediately adopted it as his primary secure communication tool and enthusiastically recommended it to all his criminal contacts across multiple continents. And when Hakan Aayik recommends something in the underworld, people listen very carefully. He wasn't just another drug trafficker trying to make a living. He was a connector, a broker between criminal worlds that normally never intersect. From his luxurious King's Cross Hotel in Istanbul's upscale Levent financial district, Aayik personally managed multi-million-dollar imports of cocaine from Colombia and Peru, methamphetamine from Mexico and Myanmar, and heroin from Afghanistan's poppy fields. He operated closely with Sam Gore, the Chinese super triad that controls massive portions of Asia's drug trade, with cells of Mexico's Sinaloa cartel looking to expand into Pacific markets, and with Albanian clans in Europe who controlled crucial overland smuggling routes from the Balkans through to Western Europe. His name opened doors that remained closed to others. His reputation guaranteed that business deals would be honored. Authorities later described his influence as being like Having Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson personally sponsoring your gym. Instant credibility and trust. When Aayik started actively using Anom and vouching for its security, his immediate partners and associates adopted it without hesitation. When those partners used it successfully for weeks without problems, their own networks began adopting it. And when multiple networks across different criminal sectors started using it, a powerful network effect took hold. The effect was exponential, viral, unstoppable. By summer 2019, Anom had hundreds of active users across multiple countries. In March 2021, when European and Canadian authorities working with the FBI dismantled Sky Global in a coordinated takedown, Anom's user base tripled within just a few months. It reached over 10,000 active devices distributed across 90 different countries. 300 distinct criminal organizations used it as their primary communication method. Messages were sent in 45 different languages. The top 5 countries by total usage were Germany, Netherlands, Spain, Australia, and Serbia. The distribution system behind Anom operated efficiently on 4 hierarchical levels. At the top were wholesalers, mid to high-level criminals with exclusive distribution rights covering entire countries or major regions. They had direct access to device suppliers and negotiated wholesale pricing. Below them, agents controlled specific territories within those countries, employing trusted staff to recruit new clients and handle technical support issues. Then came representatives, resellers who offered devices to lower-level criminal associates and collected commissions on every sale. Finally, drivers, employees who physically delivered phones to their new owners, often in discreet meetings in parking lots, coffee shops, or safe houses. Pricing varied by market and local demand. In Australia, where both cost of living and legal risk run high, an Anom device with 6 months of service costs 1,700 Australian dollars. In Europe, prices range from 1,000 to 1,500 euros, depending on the specific country. In Canada, 1,700 Canadian dollars. For organizations moving millions of dollars weekly in drug proceeds, it was an insignificant expense. A small investment in operational security, or so they believed. In Australia specifically, 1,659 Anom devices were active at the moment of the final takedown. Those devices generated 19 million intercepted messages during the operation's 3-year span. Globally, the total reached 27 million communications, and the content of those messages was absolutely devastating to criminal operations. Investigators estimated that 100% of Anom communications were directly related to criminal activity. There were no legitimate users who'd accidentally stumbled onto the platform, no journalists protecting sources, no activists organizing protests, no business people seeking privacy. It was a closed ecosystem, exclusive to the underworld. Messages didn't use elaborate slang or complex codes. Users spoke with brutal, reckless frankness. "We have 3 tons of coke arriving Tuesday at Melbourne Port. Payment is 1 million in Bitcoin, split across 3 specific wallets. Target leaves the gym at 7 p.m. every evening. We use the Glock with suppressor. We're gone on the stolen bike within 90 seconds." They casually attached high-resolution photos of their shipments. Cocaine bricks stacked neatly in shipping containers, enormous stacks of cash spread across tables, weapons wrapped carefully in plastic for transport. They shared highly specific logistical details without any hesitation. Exact ship names, precise container numbers, names of corrupted customs officials who'd facilitate entry, detailed transport routes from ports to distribution points. They discussed planned murders with the same casual tone someone might use planning a routine business meeting, detailing weapons, escape routes, and disposal methods. In one meticulously documented case, a criminal group was actively planning to import 3 full tons of cocaine in a single shipment. representing approximately half of Australia's entire annual cocaine consumption. In another intercepted plot, conspirators were organizing a cafe massacre specifically designed to eliminate rival Comanchero members in one coordinated strike, discussing the best time when maximum targets would be present. Everything flowed in real time directly to the computer screens of FBI and Australian Federal Police analysts working around the clock in shifts. The agencies operated 24-hour analysis centers. The volume of actionable intelligence was absolutely overwhelming, far exceeding what they'd initially anticipated. They discovered sophisticated clandestine laboratories hidden in suburban warehouses capable of producing $25 million worth of methamphetamine every single week. They identified specialized cooks, expert chemists traveling between countries offering their services to extract drugs, cleverly hidden inside legitimate cargo shipments. They traced complex international routes connecting coca plantations deep in Colombian jungles with major ports in Rotterdam, from where drugs were redistributed to Australia, hidden in industrial machinery, aircraft tires, or even in hollowed-out diplomatic pouches that should have been immune to inspection. But there was a severe and growing problem that threatened the entire operation: operational fatigue among law enforcement teams. Investigation teams were completely exhausted, pushed to their absolute limits. They'd spent months working brutally long shifts without adequate rest, simultaneously building airtight legal cases while also preventing imminent violent crimes from actually occurring. Each intercepted murder plot required immediate tactical intervention without revealing the intelligence source that had uncovered it. In the Adelaide restaurant attack case, police had to confiscate the motorcycle that conspirators planned to use in the shooting. The determined conspirators immediately stole another motorcycle to continue with their plan. Police confiscated that second bike as well. Days later, during a search of scrubland in Adelaide's northeast, they discovered the machine gun hidden in thick bushes, along with 2 fully loaded magazines, ready for use. The operation simply couldn't continue indefinitely at this pace. Warning signs were beginning to emerge from multiple directions. And one of those warning signs was about to explode into public view. On March 29, 2021, an anonymous blog published Anam Exposed. The author questioned Anam's security and suggested it was redirecting data to the United States. No concrete proof, just technical speculation. But in the criminal world, paranoia is survival. Once distrust sets in, platforms die. The FBI and AFP panicked. 3 years of work could evaporate, but the mass exodus never came. The publication circulated in limited circles but generated no panic. Most users ignored it. Why? Because they trusted Hakan Aayik. If he used Anam, it must be safe. If the Comancheros used it, it must be reliable. That blind trust was their downfall. But the clock kept ticking. The Lithuanian court order allowing FBI access to servers expired June 7, 2021. Without it, the FBI would lose legal access. Renewing meant risks, more judges involved, more opportunities for leaks. Each additional day increased chances that someone would suspect the truth. There was another problem. Maintaining the operation meant preventing crimes without revealing the source. Each confiscated motorcycle, each intercepted shipment risked exposure. Criminals aren't stupid. Too many inexplicable failures would make them connect dots. The agencies chose to act. June 8, 2021, less than 24 hours after the Lithuanian order expired. 16 countries would participate simultaneously. Australia would lead with 4,000 agents. Europol would coordinate Europe. The FBI would oversee from Washington. The US wouldn't conduct domestic arrests due to Fourth Amendment restrictions, but would prosecute 17 Anam distributors under RICO. Military precision required. Zero margin for error. A premature arrest in Sydney would alert Amsterdam within minutes. A botched raid in Melbourne would trigger evidence destruction in Berlin. Everything had to happen simultaneously across time zones. Tactical teams rehearsed entries repeatedly. They reviewed blueprints, identified access points and escape routes, mapped security systems. Prosecutors prepared charges backed by millions of intercepted messages. Analysts compiled priority targets, Comanchero leaders, Albanian bosses, Italian intermediaries, triad operators. Strategies targeted not just drugs and weapons, but financial infrastructure, bank accounts, properties, luxury vehicles, art collections. Hitting money hurts more than confiscating drugs. June 7th, midnight. Final signals transmitted. Commanders received green lights. Prosecutors signed arrest warrants. Analysts sent target lists, everything ready. Doors would fall in 5 hours, and with them, the Southern Hemisphere's most sophisticated criminal empire. At 5 in the morning on June 8, 2021, Australia wakes to sirens. In Sydney, federal police teams storm mansions in the northern suburbs. In Melbourne, tactical agents break down doors in Lalore and Barangaroo. In Adelaide, 40 people are arrested in a single day, a South Australian record. In Brisbane, Perth, Newcastle, the scenes repeat. Men pulled from their beds in underwear, handcuffs, faces against the floor, television cameras capturing everything. The seizures are cinematic. 90 kilograms of methamphetamine in Adelaide worth $45 million. 50 liters of GHB, the date rape drug. 350 kilograms of cannabis. 10,000 ecstasy pills. 30 illegal firearms, including machine guns and rifles with suppressors. 3 clandestine labs dismantled, one capable of producing $25 million in methamphetamine weekly. But it's not just the drugs. They seize luxury vehicles, 2 Lamborghinis, a Bentley, a Maserati, Patek Philippe and Rolex watches worth hundreds of thousands, jewelry, fine wine collections, even memorabilia from the Godfather movie displayed proudly in one of the raided properties, and cash, $1.9 million in a single Adelaide residence. 45 million Australian dollars seized nationwide during the first weeks. Those arrested include heavy hitters, 76 Comanchero members and associates, 3/4 of all criminals captured through ANOM in Australia. Among them, sergeants at arms, chapter presidents, financial operators. The organization structure collapses. Those detained owe money to international suppliers for shipments that never arrive because they were intercepted. They owe money to local distributors for drugs that were confiscated. The debts pile up. And in the underworld, unpaid debts are collected in blood. Simultaneously in Europe, Europol coordinates arrests in Germany, Netherlands, Spain, Serbia. In total, more than 800 people fall across 16 countries. They seize 8 tons of cocaine, 22 tons of cannabis, 2 tons of synthetic drugs, 6 tons of chemical precursors, 250 firearms, 55 luxury vehicles, and $48 million in cash and cryptocurrency. That same day, in simultaneous press conferences in Canberra, Washington, and The Hague, authorities reveal the secret. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison calls it a watershed moment in Australian law enforcement history. Australian Federal Police Commissioner Rhys Kershaw says, "This is a criminal takedown like we've never seen." And then he adds a phrase that chills the underworld's blood. Hakan Aayik is a marked man. He should turn himself in. Because while authorities celebrate in Istanbul, Hakan Aayik learns his name is in every headline, not as an untouchable kingpin, but as the fool who sold out 300 criminal organizations. The networks he connected now want him dead. Mexican cartels lost shipments worth hundreds of millions. Chinese triads saw their routes to Australia dismantled. The Comancheros, his own people, were destroyed. Aayik disappears, changes residence, stops appearing at his hotel. According to reports, he undergoes plastic surgery to alter his face. but he can't hide forever. In November 2023, Turkish police capture him in a raid that also detains 36 of his associates, including former Comanchero Australian National President Duax Ngakuru. The Facebook gangster ends up handcuffed, kneeling, shirtless, his shoulder tattoo visible in Turkish security cameras. The United States requests his extradition under RICO charges. He faces up to 20 years in federal prison. 3 years later, Operation Ironside's impact still resonates. By June 2024, 392 defendants face 2,355 charges in Australia. 63 have been sentenced to a combined total of 307 years in prison. A Melbourne man received 16 years for attempting to possess 360 kilograms of methamphetamine. A Newcastle operator was sentenced to 15 years for conspiring to import 500 kilograms of methamphetamine hidden in construction equipment. A Sydney trafficker received 7 years for attempting to introduce 127 kilograms of pseudoephedrine from India. The Comancheros never recovered. 76 arrests destroyed their operational backbone. Remaining members owe money they can't pay. International suppliers stop trusting them. Other criminal organizations avoid doing business with networks linked to motorcycle clubs, considering them too visible and vulnerable. The Australian organized crime business model has changed. The era of big biker gangs as dominant intermediaries seems to be over. But Ironside also exposed an uncomfortable truth for the global underworld. The technology that promised to make them invisible made them more vulnerable than ever. For decades, organized crime evolved from territorial gangs to sophisticated transnational corporations. They diversified operations, invested in advanced logistics, corrupted officials, built money laundering networks so complex they rival legitimate banks. They believed technology was their salvation. Military encryption, proxy servers, remote self-destruction, they felt untouchable. But they forgot a basic rule. Trust is the weakest link in any system. It doesn't matter how sophisticated the encryption is if the system administrator is an FBI informant. It doesn't matter how secure the network is if the influencer promoting it is, unknowingly, working for authorities. Hakan Aayik controlled an empire worth $1.5 billion annually in drug trafficking. That empire collapsed because an informant named Afgu was paid $180,000, equivalent to the price of 1 or 2 kilograms of wholesale cocaine in Australia. The proportion is obscene, risking $1,500 million for not properly verifying the origin of an app that costs less than a Rolex. And the future doesn't look better for organized crime. After Ironside, criminal organizations became paranoid. They abandoned commercial encrypted platforms and returned to analog methods. In-person meetings, human couriers, codes written on paper. But that slows operations, limits reach, reduces efficiency. Modern crime depends on speed and global coordination. Without secure digital communications, that advantage disappears. Authorities, meanwhile, learned the opposite lesson. Operation Ironside demonstrated that infiltrating organized crime's digital infrastructure is more effective than any frontal war against cartels. You don't need to invade territories controlled by narcos. You don't need to negotiate with corrupt governments. You just need patience, social engineering, and a well-designed trap. And criminals confident in their supposed technological invulnerability will fall again and again. Today, Hakan Aayik awaits trial in Turkey. Afgu lives under a protected identity somewhere in the United States. The Comancheros are fragmented. Australian cartels operate in the shadows, distrustful of any technology, any new partner, any promise of security. And in the FBI and Australian Federal Police archives, millions of decrypted messages wait to become new cases, new sentences, new operations. Because if Operation Ironside made one thing clear, it's this. In the digital age, organized crime's greatest enemy isn't the brute force of law. It's their own arrogance, the belief that technology can protect them from everything, the blind trust in systems they don't control, and the inability to imagine that someone, somewhere is reading every word they write.